presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Detroit.
Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire.
From our nation's capital, the Detroit Tigers making their second ever visit to Nationals Park. They're trying to get back on track. A very good week has been followed by a very forgettable week. It's the start of a three-game series between the Detroit Tigers and the Washington Nationals. Welcome inside Nationals Park. Along with Jack Morris, I'm Dan Dickerson. And Jack, it's not just the Tigers who are trying to get back on track. So far, the Washington Nationals, well, after a four-game sweep at the hands of the Chicago Cubs, that's a team, too, that's trying to get back on track.
Yeah, something's got to give here tonight. The Tigers have been playing subpar, and the Nationals winning against a very hot-hitting and a very good playing Chicago Cubs team. So back at home, the Nationals hope to regain their form, that they've been playing good baseball. And the Tigers, like you mentioned, with Anibal Sanchez on the mound, they need to get going there, too.
Sanchez against Steven Strasburg is a matchup tonight. Jack, we're going to see a lot of good pitching tonight. But the guy who maybe holds the key for the Tigers, Anibal Sanchez.
Absolutely. Anibal is a guy that, well, he could dominate. He could be a number one if he gets on a roll. He's kind of been messing with his windup delivery and timing, and I think he might have found the old school stuff, maybe the Louis Tiant or Cueto's type of delivery. But either case, he feels more comfortable with that. He's throwing more strikes, and his velocity has come back again.
Steven Strasburg, simply one of the best pitchers in baseball right now. This guy came off the DL last summer. He's been lights out. It's low walks, high strikeouts. He is very tough to hit. And of course, all eyes as we go into this series because he's simply one of the best players. Last year's MVP, Bryce Harper. He's fun to watch. He's 23 years old, Jack.
Well, he's definitely one of the game's best, and he brings a little attitude, I think, which adds a little charm to his type of play. But Bryce Harper is the kind of guy that somehow delivers ultimate power from his swing. I've talked to a bunch of guys who I trust as hitters, former players, and they say very few guys can keep their shoulder into their swing, their front shoulder into their swing the way Bryce Harper does, and he's certainly respected already in his young career as what happened in Chicago last weekend.
The Chicago Cubs wanted no part of Bryce Harper. He walked 13 times in 4 games over the weekend. How are the Tigers going to handle Bryce Harper? We'll be talking about that, and we'll have the first pitch coming up in a few minutes. Right now, let's send it back to our studios, the Call Sam Studios, and Matt Shepard. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. And by Jeep. Come discover great deals during the Jeep Drive and Discover event. Welcome inside Nationals Park in our nation's capital. It's the first of three between the Tigers and the Washington Nationals. Both of these teams trying to get back on track. It's been a lost week for the Tigers. The Nationals just got swept by the Cubs. Here's the Tigers lineup tonight, presented by your Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. National League ballpark, no DH tonight, so you see Nick Castellanos in that cleanup spot tonight. Tigers still looking for J.D., Miguel, and Justin especially to get those power bats going.
Let's take a look at the National starting defense. It's brought to you by Tim Hortons. Ben Revere will be back out in left field. He's fresh off the DL. Michael A. Taylor in center, and of course Bryce Harper out in right field. Danny Espinosa at short. Daniel Murphy at second. Ryan Zimmerman at first, and Anthony Rendon over at third base. Wilson Ramos doing the catching, and Steven Strasburg on the mound for the Nationals. There is Steven Strasburg. He's making his 7th start. Great start to his 2016 season. He's 5-0 with incredibly good ERA. He's a power pitcher. He's one of the game's best, and especially tough on left-handers. He has a cutter that is really diving into those left-handed hitters, so it'll be interesting to watch this matchup. I have not seen Steven Strasburg in person ever, and I really am looking forward to this.
You really do like watching these power pitchers, don't you?
I just like
just something
good pitching.
about a guy.
I don't know what it is, but I like good pitching.
There's something about a power arm. This young man got off to a terrible start last year. There were some health issues involved. There was a back issue. There was a neck issue. There was an ankle issue. And then when he came off the DL for a second time, Steven Strasburg rolled to the finish, and he's carried it right into the 2016 season. Today's field conditions are presented by Ace Hardware and the Scotts Company. Kind of a soggy day here in Washington, D.C. Light rain through the early afternoon hours, and then the rain cleared out. They took the tarp off the field. Tigers could at least take batting practice here today. And we're settling in for kind of cool for this time of year, but a cloudy, cool night in Washington, D.C. Well, as we mentioned, Jack, a very good week for the Tigers, followed by a very forgettable week. And look at the run differential in the 2 weeks. I mean, it's just the exact opposite. You can hardly believe a team that was that good for 7 games. The Tigers outscoring their opponents 43-23 could turn right around and go winless in their next 6 games and get outscored 43-16.
Well, and it's not going to be an easy task against one of the game's better pitchers here tonight. But with that being said, the Tigers have the potential to just turn those things right back around again and get on another roll.
And it's really led by the starting pitching, isn't it? That's why we concentrate so much on Anibal Sanchez. Ian Kinsler will lead off for the Tigers. Martinez and Cabrera to follow in the first. Tigers offense heated up, and really you do look at J.D. Martinez in that 2 spot. It's been a struggle for him to get the power stroke going. Miguel Cabrera certainly has picked it up, batting average in the last week or so. But again, the power is what you're looking for from J.D., Miguel, and Justin Upton. Strasburg is not the guy to really get the power stroke going against. He's getting ready to face Ian Kinsler. Digs in, hitting .304. Our first pitch of the game, fastball outside, and we are underway. So glad to have you along on a cloudy, cool Monday night from our nation's capital. The first of 3 between the Tigers and the Washington Nationals. Big 6'4" righty. Another fastball low and away, and it's consistent velocity from Steven Strasburg. Consistent 95, 96. He can dial it up a little bit more from there if he wants to. The 2-0 to Ian, up and away. And the thing that always stands out with Strasburg, it's the pinpoint command. It's a ton of strike throwing with the high strikeouts.
Yeah, he has a high 60s strike ratio and percentage of the pitches that he throws.
And on 4 pitches, Ian Kinsler, wouldn't you know, a guy who doesn't walk much, draws a leadoff walk.
Well, immediately the Tigers have something cooking. Talked about J.D. Martinez with his struggles as of late in this 2-hole, but one swing can change that in a hurry. Strasburg can generate the velocity, and if J.D. can make contact out over the plate, good things can happen.
3 home runs so far for J.D. Remember, it was kind of a slow start last year for J.D., and then he started to heat up in June. Fastball strike on the outside corner, close enough
for Brian Knight.
Strasburg has pretty much stayed away. Every pitch has been fastball away. Ramos and him have worked together here for a few years, and at least early that's their plan. Now breaking ball away.
Pretty roomy to left center here in Nationals Park, not a home run friendly ballpark. There is that cutter that you talked about away. It is interesting, Jack, that right-handed batters, not just a little edge, but a pretty substantial edge for the last 2 years against Steven Strasburg.
Well, when you have a cutter, and Mariano Rivera was the best probably in modern day with that pitch, that breaks in on a left-hander from a right-handed pitcher, it just can eat you up, but you can stay with it as a right-hander, and that's why the numbers might be slightly better for the right-handed hitters so far off Strasburg.
We've seen these Tigers batters pitched in pretty tough recently. I think Cleveland did a good job of that, and so far Strasburg staying, as you said, away, away, away. And now he's missed with 6 of his first 7 pitches. Check swing, and it's a called strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. That's a good bit off the plate, and I don't think he said he went. That was just a called strike to make it 2-2 instead of 3-1. Strasburg does a pretty good job paying attention to the running game. He has allowed 4 steals so far in 6 starts. Tigers don't run a whole lot. JD waiting on the 2-2. Ian's got a very short, cautious lead at first. Draws the throw from Strasburg. Espinosa at short, Murphy at second. That's the double play combination. Espinosa was the second baseman last year. Murphy, of course, shaded up the middle here. The big offseason pickup, and his bat has been incredible so far for the Nationals. 2-2, swing and a miss. Wow. That's some sharp movement right at the plate.
Yeah, let's just watch the break in this last pitch. I don't know what that was. I don't know if that was a curveball or it broke like a split finger fork ball, but I don't think he throws that. It broke straight down.
They say he throws his changeup at 89.
That's probably what that was.
Wow.
Good movement late, though.
Wasn't it? Well, those of you just tuning in, Mario and Pemba and I have swapped booths for this series. Mario is right next door working with Mr. Price. And I'll have the pleasure of working with you, Jack, for the next 3 days. There's a pitch outside again away from Miguel Cabrera, something we'll be doing throughout the course of the season. A series a month for the next 4 months.
I think it's a little risky for anybody, including Strasburg, to keep throwing on one side of the plate. Miguel Cabrera will make the adjustment if you just show him one side only.
There's a swing and a miss. There's the cutter. Woo.
I think what you're seeing from Strasburg is his change of adding and subtracting. That's his main objective right now. It's not necessarily in and out. It's just hard and soft, hard and soft. And that depth is what's getting the hitters off balance.
Kinsler's edging off, but very cautiously at first. Ramos behind the plate is very good. He stops the running game. Soft tapper to the left side. That'll be cut off by Rendon. An easy toss to first to get Miguel. Kinsler ends up at second. He's there with 2 out, and that leaves it up. Hottest hitter around, Nick Castellanos. Nick Castellanos in the cleanup spot, and the way he's hitting right now, this is right where he belongs. It has been one impressive start. This young man is 24 years old, and Jackie's looking as comfortable as a seasoned veteran at the plate through 29 games.
His swing reminded me a lot the last time I worked the Tiger games of JD when JD was really swinging well last year. They both have the ability to go away. Strasburg's going to pitch him away more than likely. He's done that against the first 3 hitters. And Ramos sets out again.
Nick has been very disciplined. He still will swing and he'll still chase away, but teams are finding out that sliders low and away, they're just catching part of the plate or even off the plate a little. He'll drive that ball into center and right center.
Tiger fans have recognized that Nick is a strong kid, and I think he's getting stronger as he ages, which is typical part of the development process.
There's a perfect pitch. First time he's been able to grab the outside corner with that fastball.
So many scouts, so many people in baseball are encouraging down and away, down and away, down and away for the home run factor. It's hard to hit a ball out of the ballpark when you're pitched down and away. But there's guys that have the power to do that if they start looking that way. Nick's one of them.
Strasburg has certainly established that's where he's going. You see Ramos setting up inside this time. Fly ball left field. This one's deep, and this ball is off the top of the fence and gone. A home run. Had to wait for the third base umpire, Pat Hallberg, to call it home run number 6 for Castellanos. And 4 batters in. The Tigers lead it 2-0.
First time that Strasburg tried to go in. I was watching the monitor, and Wilson Ramos had called the fastball in. He left it out over the plate, and when you don't go in enough to move it off the plate, he leaves us right over the heart of the plate. And a hot hitter, Nick Castellanos, makes great contact out in front of the plate, and the ball just barely clears that yellow line there, but it does go over, and it's a home run.
Swing and a miss. Sharp late breaking slider from Strasburg. How about that? Steven Strasburg had given up 1 home run in 42 innings. The first time he attempts to go in.
First pitch.
Nick Castellanos is on it. Upton swings and fouls it out of play. That's impressive because, as you said, the pattern had been established, nothing but away, and Nick was ready the first time that he tried to come in.
Well, the problem was he didn't get in. He left it out over the middle.
2-0 Tigers, 4 batters in. Oh, that's a wicked curveball that gets Upton. Nick Castellanos continues his hot hitting. 6th home run gives the Tigers the early lead here in Washington, D.C. Bottom of the first coming up. 2-0 Tigers. Starting pitcher Anibal Sanchez, presented by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Well, Anibal is seeking his 4th win of the season. He's had very good success against the Washington Nationals in his career, 9-1 career mark right here at Nationals Park. He's 3-1 with a 1.38, so hopefully he can keep it going. He's got 2 runs to work with to start this game.
As Jack mentioned, Ben Revere been out for, well, almost a month with an oblique. Back in the starting lineup. It's a young man who provides a lot at the top. Consistent base stealing threat with Philadelphia and Toronto last year. Former Twin takes a fastball for a strike on the inside corner.
I think if there was ever a case of describing a hitter as a slap and run kind of guy, it's Ben Revere. Put the bat on the ball, he makes good contact, and then uses his strength, his legs, to make things happen.
Contact hitter is not going to walk a whole lot. Castellanos in tight at third, guarding against that bunt possibility. The outfield as shallow as you will see an outfield, playing him to go the opposite way. Swinging a foul to the top of the screen. He swung from his heels, trying to get the off-speed pitch up. Well, Jack Anibal Sanchez has been tinkering with his delivery all season long. And there is no question in the last 2 starts. The comfort factor, as you talked about in the open. The Louis T outlook, the Johnny Cueto hesitation. Here's a ground ball up the middle, softly to Iglesias. 1 out in the first. Here's the Nationals lineup tonight, presented by your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. We got 3 lefties, first 5 batters, and the 2 to watch. That guy, Bryce Harper, batting average down, the power numbers are off the charts, and Daniel Murphy in the number 5 spot. Daniel Murphy for years has been a consistent, solid, nothing exceptional hitter. He's been crazy since the postseason of last year, and he's driving this offense as much as Bryce Harper. Rendon at the plate. He swings and fouls it back to the screen.
Sanchez working ahead in the count. I like to see that. When you get early run support, you want to get the guys right back in the dugout, keep them on their toes, get them involved in the game, make them touch the ball. And you have to do all that by throwing strikes.
Nationals offense kind of middle of the pack right now. They're being led by their pitching, swinging a foul out of play, starters and relievers.
Familiar face to Tiger fans right there, Max Scherzer.
How about the matchup on Wednesday? The ex-National Zimmerman against the ex-Tiger Max Scherzer.
A couple of years ago, they just flip-flop uniforms.
That's as attractive as it gets. Breaking ball in the dirt. Jack, right-handed batters have had the edge against Sanchez the last 2 years. When he's at his best, he can bury right-handed batters. I would suggest that, especially the slider, maybe not where he wants it to be.
Well, it really revolves around the fastball, command of the fastball, and being able to make sure hitters are kept honest by throwing enough inside.
Soft little pop-up down the right field line. That's a long run for J.D. Martinez, and he'll make the grab. Thought Kinsler would get it, but he gave way to J.D. in a sliding grab for out number 2.
Let's take another look at this. J.D. does have to go a long way, and he decides to kind of have that slide. A lot of players, instead of diving forward, they go down on their legs first, but he holds on to it, easily catches it. Let's take a look at the Tigers starting defense presented by Beaumont Health. Justin Upton in left, Anthony Gose in center, and J.D. out there in right. Nick Castellanos, Jose Iglesias, Ian Kinsler, and Miguel Cabrera around the infield. James McCann doing the catching of Anibal Sanchez.
2 early runs for Anibal Sanchez. There's no question he's coming off his best start of the season. There's a fastball, good movement away. Bryce Harper at the plate.
He's probably just thrilled that they're going to maybe pitch to him. 2-run lead, you've got to pitch to him. I guess you don't have to.
Joe Madden
might not.
Right here. Yeah. Soft little jam drive grounder to Sanchez, and that's the way you handle one of the most dangerous hitters around. Bryce Harper with a weak ground ball. We're through 1 at Nationals Park, and the Tigers lead it by 2. James McCann will lead it off. It's the second inning. First of 3. Tigers and Nationals. And Nick Castellanos home run in the first. A 2-run shot with 2 outs has given the Tigers the early 2-0 lead. Boy, just what you want when you're heading on the road after a lost week where you were swept in 2 straight series. There's a swing and a ground ball wide at third. Rendon. Nice play moving to his left. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the second.
James McCann throws a nice swing on that ball, but Rendon doing his part on the other end. See a fastball trying to get ahead with Strasburg throwing it there. It wasn't a gimme there.
No, it really wasn't. Rendon's a plus at third base. He's a very good defensive third baseman. Espinosa maybe was the question mark coming in because he's moving to a new position. But he'd only played a little bit at short. Anthony Gose takes a pitch up and away. Overall, this is a team, though, that has some strengths defensively. There's the changeup a little bit high. Anthony comes in hitting .210. Boy, you see the flashes in this bat, Jack, once in a while, and you realize there's a lot of talent that is untapped so far, and it's just a question of will we ever see the full potential of Anthony Gose. I mean, he'll drive a ball the opposite way like he did on the homestand. You'll think, man, it's in there.
Well, he still can run. He's got a lot of God-given abilities.
Yeah. Another good changeup.
I've seen improvement on the breaking ball early in his career. Anthony Gose had trouble with the breaking ball. Here's the fastball down and away. Actually, that was the changeup. Great spot for a changeup.
Stays off speed again, and Anthony lays off this time. Again, as Jack mentioned, Strasburg much tougher on lefties than righties. This is the only lefty he gets to face tonight.
I think in part because he has better command of his changeup. It's easier for a.
That's a live fastball there.
Just rears back and lets that one fly. After a couple back-to-back changeups, he throws the high gas, and Anthony Gose just not able to catch up with it. Third strikeout now for Strasburg.
Well, that's a nice, easy 96, isn't it?
We talk about max effort guys, and I think there's been times in Strasburg's career where he really reared back and let it go, but he's got such good natural whip with his arm. It doesn't appear that he's throwing or using max effort on his pitches, yet the radar again indicates that it's way up there.
Big guy, 6'4", 235. Soft ground ball here, and Rendon will take care of Iglesias. After 2 in the first, Strasburg bounces back with an easy second inning. He's got 3 strikeouts through 2. Back inside Nationals Park, 2-0 Tigers lead as we go to the bottom of the second inning. Our Bernstein advantage tonight brings you the batter-pitcher matchup, and the advantage tonight, Anibal Sanchez has the Bernstein advantage over Ryan Zimmerman. He's at the plate to lead off the bottom of the second inning. 229 over 40 career at-bats with just one home run. We're actually a little disappointed that Jason Worth wasn't in the starting lineup tonight, because I've never seen numbers quite like the numbers Jason Worth has.
That would be a real advantage.
That would be the Bernstein super advantage, because Jason Worth in 33 career at-bats had struck out 20. Count them, 20 times against Sanchez. The wise manager Dusty Baker gives him the night off. Ground ball softly to short. You like the contact so far, Jack. 4 batters, 4 softly hit balls. Stay tuned to the Tigers. For Tigers Live following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's. Stop by for your breakfast favorites, now being served all day long.
The greatest hitters in the game over the history of the game get themselves out 7 out of 10 times. A 300 hitter, a lifetime 300 hitter, is considered a great hitter. So pitchers need to understand that how hard it is to hit and throw a lot of strikes, and that's exactly what Anibal's doing here to start this game. He's got a 2-run lead, and the way Strasburg's getting dialed in, you'll wonder if he can hold it right there.
Boy, that's a heck of a changeup.
What I'm seeing in Anibal in his delivery is he's going back to that hip roll where he really loads his hip. And what it's doing is keeping him back on the rubber just a fraction of a second longer to get his arm in the proper position to drive forward. He still has the leg strength to drive, but he's getting that arm extension out in front, and that's helping his velocity and his location.
Soft fly ball here, caught by Anthony Goes. So 5 batters. Nobody has yet made hard contact. Jack, the concern was last year when he gave up all the home runs that the big turn was having him fly open, spinning off to the left, and things were flattening out.
And that is a concern. If you're a pitching coach, you see a guy fly open, your front shoulder opens up too quickly. But he also has to go back to what was working, and if the hip turn is what loads him. It's what gets him in a position. Now it's just a matter of driving that front shoulder towards the target and finishing in that way. And I see a difference just from the last start that I worked, where Anibal was having a really tough go in Cleveland. You see right here how he's staying back longer, and it's just a simple thing. Yes, you're aware of your front shoulder. You want that to be your target, kind of like the sights on the shotgun. You point that towards the catcher's glove. But by that little bit of roll, he's giving his arm a chance to get up, and then it's pushing forward with his arm towards the glove.
You're already seeing better stuff than you saw the last time you saw him start 2 weeks ago.
A lot better velocity and, you know, confidence. I mean, let's face it. If you're not confident and you doubt your stuff, it's that much harder. And I can just tell by his body language, by his demeanor on the mound, by the results.
Yeah.
5 up, 5 down.
Perfect pitch near the outside corner to make it 3-1. Command comes and goes for Sanchez. But track record says with this motion, he's a guy who's not going to walk many. He's had a 2.5 per 9 walk rate in his time with the Tigers.
Very good extension out in front, and that's, you know, everything that leads up to it helps.
Ground ball deep short gets past Iglesias. Wasn't hit hard. Ramos, the catcher, though, found the right spot with his ground ball. And it's a 2-out single for the Nationals. Tigers with a 2-0 lead here in the bottom of the second inning. This brings up Michael Taylor. You know, we talked about this really just at the moment. Ramos is hitting .350, but he's not a huge power threat. The biggest guys in this lineup right now are Harper and Murphy. There are about 3 or 4 other guys who are underperforming so far, and this is a young man I think that the Nationals are really kind of excited about after his first full year in the major leagues last year. Michael Taylor is a ground one foul down the third base line, but there are plenty of other bats that could still heat up. So a team that is 19-12, middle of the pack with great pitching, this offense could be a lot better.
Shows exactly the importance of pitching and defense. You catch the ball, you make the outs, you don't give out extra outs, and you have a good pitching staff, you're going to be in a lot of ball games.
Fly ball here to left field. Fairly deep, but Upton has it in range in front of the warning track. 4 out, number 3. Michael Taylor, in the end, a routine fly ball. Sanchez has cruised through 2 with a 2-0 lead. Tuesday, May the 17th, Tigers are home against the Minnesota Twins. 7 o'clock start, 7:10 start. First 10,000 fans get a free Ian Kinsler bobblehead. For tickets, visit Tigers.com or call 866-66-TIGER. Kinsler up second this inning. Anibal Sanchez. Well, you just tell him to keep his bat on his shoulder here. And see if he can work him for a walk.
You know, he's been in the National League. He's had some at-bats.
And there's the result.
I'm not saying they were pretty, but he's been there. He should feel a little bit more comfortable than some of the guys.
If you're a good hitter in the National League, or for a pitcher, you're above 130. That's the league average. 150, that's where Strasburg is. That's above average. There's a good cut right there at a fastball. 1-2 on Sanchez. And Sanchez, as you saw, a little bit below average. Boy, you don't play interleague except for these handful of at-bats, and now you've got to face Steven Strasburg. Swinging a soft little fly ball with a drop and just fouled down the right field line. You did him a favor there, Jack.
I'm just thinking to myself, all right, you got a pitcher up there. All right, you don't want to be embarrassed by allowing a pitcher to get a hit off you. And yet you want to use your best stuff, because the more you use your best bullets, everybody in that dugout is watching. So you rear back and let it go. I think if I was Strasburg, I'd throw a fastball up and in, and then just anything away will get him. Whoa!
There's the up and in, but not what you were thinking.
No, that was the breaking ball up and in. But it might have the same effect. Usually does. Move their feet, make them uncomfortable.
Sanchez definitely looks a little uncomfortable coming back in. Not the recommended way of getting out of the way.
Now that should settle into the memory bank of Anaheim. There it goes.
Nope.
Harper's playing well in there,
as he should be. Sanchez can brag that he didn't strike out. Broke his bat, but he got it to the outfield.
See, that's the beauty of being a National League pitcher, is every once in a while a guy will do that to you, and it should be lodged into your memory bank about how uncomfortable it is. In that way, you can take it to the mound yourself against the opposition.
Nobody likes it up and in, do they?
Well, just uncomfortable. Make them move. I never believed in, head hunting, but
no, but pitching in, there's a reason for it.
Making them jackknife, move their feet, anything that disrupts their focus.
Kinsler walked on 4 pitches in the first. Can't get around in a fastball in a perfect spot here and falls behind 0-2. Rode home on the Castellanos home run. Steven Strasburg. All kinds of issues, as we mentioned last year. The impressive thing was, after his second trip to the disabled list with an oblique, he came back and finished incredibly strong. A 170 ERA his last 13 starts. So carry that into this year. And Steven Strasburg in his last 19 starts is as good as anybody not named Jake Arrieta. 13-2 with a 196. That's exactly what opponents are hitting. 196 with no power in those 19 starts until Nick hit a home run tonight. There's a pitch in the dirt. The improvements he has made, the confidence that he has taken into this season. After the strong finish last year, Nick Castellanos continues to hit over 370 with power. Fly ball here, softly to center field. Taylor a couple of steps to his left. It's out number 2.
When the Washington Nationals signed Steven Strasburg, #1 pick overall, this is the kind of pitcher they envisioned. The guy that you talked about the second half of last season and to start this season. A true #1, an ace, a guy that can dominate. And quite honestly, before his injuries, he might have had even better stuff, but he wasn't developed into a pitcher, understanding what it takes to add and subtract and throw strikes and study the patterns of hitters.
Line drive, base hit here. Breaking ball that hung up. JD was all over it. Good to see. It's been a tough week for JD Martinez as he's seen his average fall from above 290 down to 230.
This swing looks just like Castellanos' swing that went out of the ballpark. This was a breaking ball that was down and away, and it was left a little bit middle, but down. It was breaking down. JD, that's kind of right in his sweet swing right there.
Brings up Miguel Cabrera, bounced out to third his first time up. 6 for 9 the last 2 days. 5 of the 6 hits singles. Since the big 2-homer game, Miguel has been quiet in the power department. It's there. We know it's there. You watched it during the spring. You can watch it in batting practice. But it just has not yet translated into games. You know it will. I think there's every chance he can still double his home run total from a year ago. 18. Here's a shot into center field. That's a bullet off Miguel's bat. And the Tigers have something brewing with 2 outs here for Nick Castellanos.
That's how smart of a hitter Miguel Cabrera is right there. He sees a couple balls away, and this one a fastball middle half away, down. He's ready for it.
Anytime you can extend the inning for Nick Castellanos right now, that's a good thing. It's incredible what Nick has done. The big improvement this year. He had to get better. He torched left-handed pitching last year. The Tigers don't see many left-handed starters. Teams load their rotations every series with righties if they can. And he had to hit righties better. And this year, coming into the game, he was hitting .450 against right-handed pitching. It was .230 last year. He's almost doubled it, and he's seeing a lot of righties. And Jack, they're trying to make the adjustment against him. They know that he's killing fastballs. They're trying different ways of approaches, and he keeps making the adjustment right back.
That all equates to a word that I always talk about. He's comfortable. When a hitter's seeing the ball well, it's almost like, and I've been just the same on the other side as a pitcher. It doesn't matter what the signal they call. When I'm going well, or that pitcher on the mound is going well, it doesn't matter the pitch. You know, have the confidence that you're going to throw it in a good spot and it's going to have a good result. Well, a hitter can go through the same thing.
There's a swing and a fly ball, softly foul, well back down the right field line. Our Magic Moonshot presented by Magic Window. I don't have to take you back too far. Just 2 innings ago, and Nick Castellanos got the first fastball as Steven Strasburg tried to get inside. As Jack said, he missed over the plate, and Nick just doesn't seem like he's missing many fastballs right now. 26 RBIs. This is Nick's 30th game. Coming up big with runners in scoring position, but great consistency game to game.
And boy, what a plus that is. That's what everybody wants out of all players, is that consistency. That's what makes you a major leaguer. That's what keeps you in the big leagues. You can have all the upside you want, all the potential, but when you start being consistent, that's when you have.
That's a wicked changeup right there. It gets Nick. Tigers put a couple on with 2 outs, but can't get anybody home. We head to the bottom of the 3rd. Tigers still with a 2-0 lead here in Washington, D.C. Thanks to that guy's home run in the 1st, Nick Castellanos' 2-run home run. Tigers take a 2-0 lead at the bottom of the 3rd inning, 1st of 3. Tigers and Washington Nationals here at Nationals Park. Danny Espinosa, switch hitting shortstop this year, swings and misses. This is another guy who can certainly be better. I think the Nationals are wondering what they have in Danny Espinosa now. Early in his career as a 24-year-old, he hit 21 home runs, 17 the next year, and then the offense, for the most part, disappeared for the next 2 years. It was a swing and a miss, off speed and away.
Started him up with a fastball up and away, and now he throws a breaking ball, and not a good one. That ball was not intended to be that high, but the result was the same. Espinosa swings through both of them.
Espinosa better as a right-handed batter, significantly better throughout his career. Fastball, perfect pitch. First strikeout for Sanchez, starts the 3rd. Let's take it down to the field and check in with Trevor Thompson.
Well, Dan, no DH in the National League Park here today, so Victor Martinez has a night off for now, at least. That means that Nick Castellanos is batting cleanup behind Miguel Cabrera. I asked Victor about batting behind Miguel and how easy that is. He said it's not easy at all because Victor takes all the good pitches. I mean, Miggy takes all the good pitches, and there's usually nobody on base to knock in as a single falls right there. But he also went on to say that he thinks Nick would do a good job there, not only because he's so hot, but because he's so consistent early in the season, as you guys had already mentioned. As far as Nick was concerned, he says it's everybody's dream to bat cleanup in the show. In his first at-bat, he had made a dream come true with a 2-run homer and another chance in his second at-bat with men on base. We'll see how he makes out here the rest of the night as the Tigers have a 2-0 lead because of Nick's bat so far. Back up to you guys.
All right, Trev, I like that. It's not easy to hit behind him. He drives in all the runs. Well, Steven Strasburg just laced a single. That's the hardest hit ball of the night. He's not going to take off here, though, as that pitch got away from McCann in the dirt, kicked out to the right. Steven Strasburg now 4 for 15 this season.
Davey Lopes, he's seen a lot of baseball games, been coaching for a long, long time.
New first base coach is Dusty Baker, who was hired in the offseason, and the knowledge that's in that brain for base running, ability to steal a base. Nationals have put a high priority on it. Ground ball to first. Miguel tags the bag, throws down to second, and Strasburg will not slide. And that is an inning-ending double play. A nice play by Cabrera to start it to end the third. Anibal Sanchez has cruised through the first 3 innings. Just one hard hit ball so far. The Tigers take the 2-0 lead to the 4th here at Nationals Park. Nothing Tigers. We go to the top of the 4th. Tigers had by far the better swings so far in this game. Home run from Castellanos, a couple of line drive singles last inning. This guy who's already had Tommy John surgery has come back. He is still firing bullets, and the strikeout rate, as you can see, not just pretty good for this day and age, historically good.
I'm really kind of surprised by that group of guys. Number one, I'm not surprised who they are, but the fact that this is Major League Baseball history, minimum of 100 starts, and there's no Walter Johnson, there's no Cy Young, there's no Nolan Ryan, you know, guys that were known. These are all guys in the modern day generation, but they came up and they were young but through strikeouts.
Justin Upton showing bunt, pulls the bat back. It's a strike. Rendon at third's not believing it. He's going to back up. He'll dare Justin Upton to try that again. I'm not picturing it. Soft fly ball to center field. Taylor will come in, put that in his back pocket as he cruises towards second base.
Well, there's always a game within the game in a National League game. That's the pitcher facing the other pitcher. Sanchez got a couple pitches to hit, so you almost feel obligated to throw something to challenge the opposing pitcher. And in this case, Strasburg's seen more pitches this year in the batter's box than Anibal has.
Almost feel obligated. Not always, though.
I got to tell you a story. Spring training a long time ago. Remember Spaceman Bill Lee?
Oh, absolutely.
Bill Lee. I was facing him in spring training, and he threw a pitch out over the plate, and I got a double. And I thought, my goodness, how cool is this? Pitcher hitting against the pitcher. I got a double in spring training. So Bill Lee comes up, and I figure, okay, I got to throw him something. I mean, he gave me a cookie. I got to throw him one. Next pitch, home run. There you go. Heck with that.
No longer will I feel obligated. My favorite Bill Lee quote, as you said, the spaceman Bill Lee. The first time he saw Fenway Park, he looked out at the Green Monster and said, "Do they keep it here during the game?" Yes, they do. A lefty doesn't like that ball 300 feet from home plate. McCann had a good swing his first time up. Breaking ball away here, evens the count at 2-2. 2-run home run in the first for Castellanos. Couple of line drive singles in the third with 2 outs against Strasburg. So far he has struck out 4, 3 on swinging third strikes. Buzzes McCann up and in.
Strasburg's got such good stuff, and we talked about his command, the fact that 68% of his pitches thrown are strikes. And I know he's already got great success. Wow. Way up there in strikeouts, but I believe if he did what he just did to James McCann a little more often, that is go in and then come back away, just basically rearing back and centering it there.
You were surprised early on the first 3 batters when he kept going away without going in one time until he threw that pitch to Nick Castellanos.
You've just got to keep him honest. Now his velocity is amongst the best in baseball, as that graphic will show you.
There's a line drive to the right field corner. That'll be extra bases for Ghost. Will it be 3? Harper's got a very good arm. Ghost around second. He'll stop right there as that throw comes all the way through from Bryce Harper. That's a good swing from Anthony Ghost. First pitch swinging. The Tigers are very good at that. Putting that first pitch in play, doing damage. 2-out double for Anthony Ghost.
Well, he throws a lot of fastballs. And again, I don't care who you are. When you throw him up over the middle of the plate, eventually the hitters will make you pay for it. Ghost squares up a fastball right there that's left up and out over the plate. And he gets himself a double.
This outfield covers a lot of territory. Taylor and Harper have very good arms. Ben Revere gets it to the cutoff man. But Ben Revere in left field is basically a center fielder covering a large left field here at Nationals Park. So this is National League Baseball. The guy you wouldn't normally intentionally walk gets intentionally walked.
Because the pitcher's under.
As the pitcher is waiting on deck, and .089 career batting average. Although he did have almost a bloop single his last time up.
Well, and I sometimes think National League pitchers have a little bit of a breather when a pitcher comes up, but you know that in your arsenal, in your bag of tricks, you'd rather walk a guy here and face that pitcher, because now Strasburg can use his A game.
Yep.
He can come at Anibal and have the confidence that he can get him out.
Sanchez hitless in 4 at-bats this year. 10 games played in interleague ballparks and National League ballparks for American League teams. 20 games total on the schedule. And these 3 games will be the last that the Tigers have to worry about losing the DH and using their pitcher as a hitter until the very last series of the year in Atlanta. Sanchez did see 6 pitches. That's no small accomplishment. His first time up. Tries to bunt it. He bunts it past the mound. Charging Rendon, throws, and he just got Sanchez. Oh, he almost laid down a perfect bunt past the mound. Rendon had to make a nice play to throw him out. Tigers again straying 2 for the second straight inning and still have the lead. Rendon charging, played it perfectly. That's a strong throw to get him by inches as Sanchez hustles down the line. It's time for T-Mobile's greater coverage of baseball. Tonight our spotlight is on the Windy City because that's the baseball capital right now. Look at these starts, 46 and 16 combined for the Cubs and the White Sox. Can't help but look at that 24 and 6 Cubs record and think about great starts through 40 games. That's a great start through 30.
Yeah, the White Sox are still the black sheep on that city. You know, they're off to the best start they've had in years, and they're still talking about the Cubs. And when they're not,
big surprise.
White Sox fans are talking about the Cubs. So great baseball city right now.
And the great start since 35 and 5, 32 years ago. And you realize every time, Jack, that you see a good start and you think that's an amazing start. Well, the Cubs already have one more loss than the 35 and 5 Tigers in 1984. And that's
I'm glad I wasn't really focused on that when we went through it because there's no way we would have been able to do it.
You were aware of it, though, obviously,
well,
but it's just because there wasn't nearly the
I remember
attention.
Such a big deal they made when we got swept in Seattle after winning 17 straight on the road, and that might be more impressive than the start.
That one's tapped foul off the bat of Rendon. Fly ball to right his first time up.
Annabelle trying to get that leadoff guy out. Again, throwing strikes. He's yet to walk a batter. Only the one strikeout, that to Espinosa in the third inning. But attacking the strike zone and challenging the hitters.
It's what he's done in a Tigers uniform. To see the walks as high as they are so far, you just know that's going to get better as soon as he gets the comfort level with his delivery. There's no question this stuff is better, and I think an early good sign for Sanchez, Jack, the strikeouts.
Well, I would
better
describe
than a strikeout an inning, one of the best strikeout rates of his career.
Yeah. I would describe it Anibal is a field pitcher. He's a guy that has a really good feel for adding and subtracting. In other words, fastball, off-speed pitch, take a little off your breaking ball, add a little more to your breaking ball, add a little more to your fastball. He's been that kind of guy because he's always had such great command. And early when he was struggling, his command wasn't there. That is the first walk that he issues right there on a very close pitch.
Rendon apparently didn't want to walk. He stood there for a moment in the right-handed batter's box before he trots down to first.
I think Rendon thought it was a strike.
Would have been a heck of a call. There he goes.
Finally, Ryan Knight, the home plate umpire, says, "Hey, I called that a ball." Well, the Tigers scored their 2 runs with a leadoff walk to Ian Kinsler in the first. Now Bryce Harper comes up to do this, try to do the same thing.
Boy, that's a good breaking ball to start him off. Steal that strike one. Weak ground ball back to the mound his first time up.
I think most people would consider Bryce Harper a very good low ball hitter. He loves the ball down. That's where his power is. Now he does an adequate job of covering the whole plate, but it seems like the balls that he really drives and crushes are knee-high pitches.
You like that combination right there, don't you? Slow breaking ball to start it, above the belt with a fastball. It really didn't have a lot of life earlier in the season. Sanchez can be easy to run on, especially if he has gone back to this, obviously with men on base, more of a modified turn. And there goes Rendon. Pitches a strike, no chance to throw him out. It's impressive McCann even made that close. Harper not happy. He's giving it to the home plate umpire Brian Knight as he walks back to that Nationals dugout. Rendon's 3rd steal of the year.
Good jump right there from Rendon. Not much that James McCann can do, but I think Harper's upset because McCann was moving, but you can see there from Fox Tracks clearly in the strike zone.
That's impressive he made that close because Rendon had a terrific jump. And that was a great job by McCann. To still get that call, Jack Wally's moving to set up to throw.
Well, a lot of umpires, when they see a catcher move like that, just automatically will give it. I think that's what Bryce Harper was kind of reacting to. And there's some chirping in the dugout, probably from Harper. You can see Brian Knight trying to be the federal judge here. Not
Wow.
to take any chirping.
Is that Chris Spire, Dusty Baker's bench coach, telling him to watch the game? So a runner in scoring position for the first time for the Nationals. Ryan Zimmerman, this is a bat that has been absolutely quiet. And the 1 home run. This is a pretty reliable source of power for the Nationals. Ground ball here, deep 3rd. Good play by Nick. He'll bounce the throw to first and easily get Zimmerman. Nick's very good at that. Deep along the line, he'll bounce the throw intentionally, and he bounces it perfectly for Cabrera.
For the kids that are watching this, you think that maybe he doesn't have a strong arm, but that's why intention. He will take ground balls going to his right along the line there during batting practice before the game and purposely throw it on the grass there to have a nice easy hop over to Miguel Cabrera.
Doesn't ever short hop him. He's done that a lot this year. Bounces it on the grass, good 15-20 feet. Nice easy bounce for Miguel. Man at second, 2 outs now for the suddenly dangerous Daniel Murphy.
Daniel Murphy
basically
put himself in national attention by his postseason last year with the Mets. He was a guy that was your kind of everyday type of player. You know, he was solid, he was durable, but he wasn't anything close to being a star, and he just had a phenomenal postseason. And that seemed to have continued here with the Washington Nationals.
Those are the postseason numbers. Even with the quiet World Series, it was still incredible. 7 home runs for Daniel Murphy in the postseason. That was
a
about
lot
a
of
home
base
run every
runners on.
8
7 bombs and only 11 ribbies.
You could not get him out in the first 2 rounds. It was really something. And this guy has a career high of 14 home runs. A pop fly into center. It's going to drop. And the Nationals are on the board. He got jammed and he muscled it into center field. And Daniel Murphy again comes through with runners in scoring position. I don't know what was more surprising when we saw that graphic, Jack, hitting .458 with runners in scoring position, or the fact that that's only 6th best in the National League.
That ball is up. Had that ball been below his waist, it's going to be a nice little ground ball to the second baseman, but he's able to muscle it, and that leadoff walk comes back to haunt Anibal.
You always get mad at yourself with a leadoff walk. Was it
you know
worse
what?
to you than a one-out walk?
It's just as bad karma. Every time you do it, you know you're in trouble. And we talk about it all the time. Former pitchers that do broadcasting, and I think that's our favorite subject, is don't get the leadoff man a free pass.
You'd rather give him a single.
I mean, you really would. Hit your way on. The odds say he won't score.
Slicing drive here is deep but foul. Boy, that was almost home run distance off the bat of the catcher. Wilson Ramos is having a heck of a start to this season. A career .260 hitter, comes into the game about 100 points higher than that. So it's very true. Leadoff walk will bug a pitcher a lot more than a leadoff single. There's no question that's how you felt in your career.
I did, yeah. You go after the guy.
Murphy not really a base stealing threat. There's 2 steals last year, 1 this year. But again, the Nationals know that Sanchez is pretty easy to run on. Murphy does have some speed, and the Nationals put an increased emphasis on running the bases better and stealing bases.
And that has a lot to do with their new manager, Dusty Baker. He's a guy that has seen a lot of baseball over the years, and he's come over and kind of made a little bit of calmness here with this ball club.
It's the perfect fit, I think, for this team. It's so great to have Dusty Baker back. 21 years, but he had been without a job, and he wanted to get back in after the Reds let him go after the 2013 season. All this guy has done, just about every stop, is win. He averaged 90 wins a season his last 6 years in San Francisco, and in Cincinnati, where it's not easy to win, Dusty Baker had 3 90-win seasons his last 4 years, let go after a 90-win season. Pitch high, makes it 1-2 on Wilson Ramos.
You mentioned the perfect fit. Well, I think Dusty would consider that too, because the talent that's on this field here in Washington. He's been blessed with some great ball players, a great pitching staff.
Breaking ball low, evens the count on Ramos. Good looking young catcher here, Dusty Baker. Remember, Bud Black was announced as the new manager of the Nationals right after the season ended last year. And then that report was erroneous, and Dusty Baker was brought in. A team that underperformed last year after a 96-win season in 2014. Is disappointing. They were as heavy a favorite going into last year as I've ever seen. There wasn't one person,
including me,
who picked somebody other than the Nationals in the East. And they won 83. Of course, the Mets won the East. Matt Williams had a very tough year with the Nationals, and Dusty Baker's come in and been the perfect fit, settling down this team. He has a way. I don't think there's any question. He's got a way with a veteran team and his relationships with players, how to get the most out of players. Track record couldn't be much better. Here's a look at Jason Worth, the guy who, well, veteran manager knew he was not about to put Jason Worth out against Sanchez, given the career numbers. Murphy's off with the pitch, and Sanchez on a 3-2 misses with a fastball.
Second walk of the inning for Anibal.
21 years, as we mentioned, as a manager, but 19 seasons.
Two-time All-Star.
He's a good hitter too. Dusty Baker in his career.
Yeah, he's truly a baseball man. He's spent his entire adult life in and around Major League Baseball.
Guy could hit for average, hit for power. You spend any amount of time at all with Dusty Baker, and you can see his appeal as a manager. As a swing and a foul, he's got a wide variety of interests, whether it's musical or just learning about life and how to be the best possible leader he can be. He's a fascinating guy.
Yeah, and I think he's getting more and more mellow as he ages, which is almost refreshing because he's a little high strung. I think it's natural for players who end up going and coaching and managing to reflect back on what happened during their careers, and there's certainly an adjustment time with today's youth. But he's a guy that understands it. He knows the differences, and it's still about motivating. It's still about getting the most out of the players.
That's right. How do you do that? You connect with your players because you've taken the time to get to know them. There's a perfect pitch on Taylor. Michael Taylor has had real struggles this year, especially against right-handed pitching.
See, James McCann had sat on the inner part of the plate, and that ball looked like it was out, but it was really split the plate just down in the zone because the way he had shifted.
There's a swing and a tap foul right at home plate, but boy, you get this guy right here. Got Espinosa leading off next inning. He's had tremendous struggles. This is the part of the order where Sanchez, you would think, just has to bury these guys, and he can bury these guys. But again, he's had struggles against righties. Michael Taylor, again, not hitting right-handed pitching at all. There is still a lot of promise in this bat. He had a good swing his first time up. He had 14 home runs, only .229 batting average last year, but there is upside for this young man, 25-year-old native of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Blitz single and a walk. 2 on 2 outs. Soft ground ball, dangerous down the third base line, and all that Castellanos can do is let it go. Now, he kicked it with his left foot, but I think it was foul.
It was already foul. That was a boo-boo.
He almost touched it, but it wasn't quite off the line. A little smile from Nick. I wasn't sure that ball was ever going to go.
It was headed foul. I knew it was going foul, but Nick did not intend to put his left foot on the baseball right there.
Tried to do the two-step out of the way. Well, there's been a long inning for Sanchez after
high pitch inning for him.
A very low number of pitches. The first 3. This is the 25th pitch of the inning. Fly ball right center. JD there, and he'll make the easy catch. Long inning, but in the end, Sanchez limits the damage. The Nationals are on the board. The Tigers lead by 1 after 4. 5th inning at Nationals Park. Here's the Chevy Silverado most dependable player, Bryce Harper. Pretty dependable, 23 years old, 4th youngest at 22 to win the MVP, 100 career home runs, 8th youngest. And you look at the on-base percentage since the beginning of last year, that might only be going in one direction, and that's up.
And that's the crazy thing when people talk about Bryce Harper, that they still consider him improving, and he's already on those lists of incredible accomplishments.
This season last year, as Kinsler takes a strike to start the 5th, not just good for a 22-year-old. It was one of the better seasons in the last 50 years by anybody. It's a good piece of hitting by Ian as he takes an off-speed pitch away, drills it into right field. Ian's on for the 2nd time tonight, a leadoff single here in the 5th.
That was excellent hitting right there. He went with the pitch and was able to hit it out in front, head down, trusts his hands. Just shoots the ball the other way. There's a nice hole over on the right side. Kinsler leads it off again for Detroit.
Really had never been able to use all fields in his career until last year. He made a concerted effort to change his swing, use the big part of the field, be able to drive the ball to right center.
Boy, how many young players have been told to use the whole field? Don't get pull happy. And yet it takes time to sink in.
It really does.
And the guys that have shown it, Mike Moustakas is another one of those guys that had to be sent down to really get it in his head that this is something they expected, and he literally made an effort to try to hit every ball the other way, and now it comes natural.
JD has the good hitters count, 2-0. Ian, think about it, at age 32, decided that he really needed to change his swing, let the ball travel a little deeper so he could use all fields. And like you said, it was not an easy change to make in your early 30s. And it took really the better part of 3-4 months before the swing really got to where he was comfortable. As Martinez taps the 2-0 pitch foul down the third base line.
It was pretty good numbers right there for the last 100 games.
You know, the power wasn't there the early part of last year. He had a batting practice session with Brad Ausmus one day at Comerica Park where he said, I just went out there, I didn't want to think for an hour. Just hit, feel it. And he said he finally just kind of felt it, made some subtle adjustments. But what we saw in the second half, Jack, was the power came back. 9 home runs to finish. He really felt that he's hit 30 home runs twice. That 20 to 25 home run power is still there. And he's carried it right into this year as those numbers certainly back up. 6 home runs to start this year. He didn't have 6 home runs last year.
An interesting point, Dan, and that is so many hitters think that they have to hit home runs and that they have to generate all this bat speed, and they do so many things, but they're strong enough, and all they really need to do is put a good swing on it. It doesn't have to be a great swing, just a good swing. And if they hit the ball in the right spot on the barrel of the bat, they've got the power. They're major leaguers. They can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Power numbers like you just talked about, Kinsler. Just square the ball up, put a good swing on, and it'll take care of itself.
This guy can certainly do that. He's got the count to do some damage. Drive to the cap in deep left center field. Got a chance. Gone. J.D. Martinez, number 4, and the Tigers lead it by 3-4-1.
Just as we were talking, a great example of what we were talking about right there. JD gets a pitch. Strasburg is going to supply plenty of the energy, and if you can meet it in the right spot with a nice easy swing, the ball will jump. That was almost a line drive, a gapper.
Really was.
But JD putting a great swing on it.
1 home run in 6 starts coming in, allowed by Steven Strasburg. 2 home runs tonight, and man, does that have to feel good for JD, his first home run in 12 games. Ground ball softly here in a jam job. Espinosa will take care of Miguel for the first out here in the 5th inning, but
take another look here at the swing from J.D. Martinez. Another ball, almost identical spot of the pitch that Nick Castellanos hit. He wanted to come in, but a little bit off the plate in, and just a picture perfect swing. And pitchers hate that sound, hitters love that sound.
Ball does make a different sound coming off his bat. It was a sharp cutter to Nick Castellanos. But Jack, your point is a good one, because I think there is a lot of attention right now on Upton and JD and Miguel, the power guys who haven't hit with a lot of power. And sometimes you do have to go back to what you just talked about.
Yeah,
trusting that it's in there. They know it's in there, whether they've been trying too hard or whatever it is. The power has not been there in recent weeks.
I think every time you try to muscle up as a hitter, your bat speed slows down. You get into a lot of flaws, and you almost have to let your cheeks relax. That's the way coaches in running describe it.
As Castellanos pops out for out number 2. That's the swing we've gotten used to seeing from that young man. 23 and 38 home runs the last 2 years. When he heated up last year, and again it was early June, it was a monster finish. And that was a beautiful sight. Like you said, that looked like a drive up the gap. And it just kept going.
377 into the Tiger bullpen out there.
Not a home run friendly ballpark. The Tigers have hit 2 against a guy who's not friendly to home run hitters. Steven Strasburg has been dynamite and very consistent through his first 6 starts. 2-0 on Upton. Good sign for Justin will be when the walks start to climb again. This is a guy who knows how to stay in the strike zone. He walked 4 times over the weekend, but when the pitch is in the strike zone, he's been having a very tough time making any consistent contact. And he does seem to be seeing the very best of opposing starting pitchers. Perfect pitches like that. Pitches off the plate inside have been called strikes a lot. Oh boy, nothing fancy there. Strasburg just rear backfired a fastball right by him. J.D. Martinez had a good hitter's count. He got a fastball. He was ready, and he did not miss it. Tigers with their second 2-run home run of the day. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. Tigers with a 3-1 lead going to the bottom of the 5th. Run from that guy, J.D. Martinez. First since late April. Had to feel good. And it's given the Tigers a 3-run lead. The biggest lead of the night for Anibal Sanchez, coming off a long inning his last time out. Tries to steal strike one on Espinosa, but misses away. Ball one. 25 pitches in his last inning, but still impressively through 4. Very little in the way of hard contact. The guy in the on-deck circle probably has the best swing of the night, Steven Strasburg.
Well, you mentioned it. This is the inning where he's got to get him right back in the dugout. Have a quick inning, a low pitch count inning. Keep the momentum and the excitement coming from the Tiger dugout.
Line shot here. Grabbed by Kinsler. Good swing for Espinosa. Had the good hitters count. 2 walks last inning. Stood out for Sanchez. They've been coming in bunches so far this year for Anibal. Tigers fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you wherever you go. Strike to Steven Strasburg. All right, you've given up a single on a first pitch fastball your first time up to the opposing pitcher.
Well, you still got to go after him. You don't want to, definitely don't want to walk this guy. If he hits a home run, so what? You're still up by 2. So throw strikes, get it over, try to set him up, you know, and get him in the defensive mode. You get ahead, and the pitcher will expand the zone. They're notoriously poor hitters.
Off speed down.
Pretty good take right there.
I was thinking the same thing. How do you not swing with that? Very few pitchers with good walk rates. 2 strike counts, they're swinging. Ground ball softly here, tips off the glove of Sanchez, but what a fine play by Ian Kinsler. He slaps his hand into his glove as he goes into shallow right field. That's a heck of a job, and the putout goes 1-4-3.
It's an instinctive reaction from the pitcher to throw your glove out there, but sometimes you don't realize where the defense is playing behind you. Kinsler doing a great job of reacting to this. Anibal's just reacting. Boom, he throws his glove out trying to knock it down. But Kinsler doing a great job to recover.
What a quick change of directions. Anibal loves it. Ian Kinsler has been unquestionably the best second baseman in baseball the last 2 years. The consistency, the ability to make plays to his right, to his left, and turn the double play. Nobody really compares. He did not somehow win a Gold Glove last year, but he should have.
Unfortunately, there's a guy named Altuve down in Houston that is also playing great baseball.
I would say Altuve is a power hitter this year.
Yeah, he's 4'11" and crushing.
He's 2 days ago anyway was leading the American League in slugging. It's like, wait a minute, Jose Altuve. He's always had some extra base power, but it's incredible what's going on this year with Altuve. 2-1 on Ben Revere. Tigers leading by 3 here in the 5th. Soft little fly ball to left, up and in, makes the easy grab, and that
there's the quick
exactly
inning.
What Sanchez was looking for. He needed a quick inning. He got it. He takes a 3-run lead to the 6th. A couple of 2-run homers have given the Tigers the 3-run lead going to the top of the 6th inning. Castellanos in the first. J.D. Martinez last inning. James McCann will lead off here in the 6th. See if James McCann attacks this first pitch. That's a perfect pitch. Not much you can do with that. Tigers have been very good. And they put that first pitch in play, hitting over 400 this year, second best in the American League. They are one of the more aggressive teams, swinging early in the count. There's a foul out of play. It's noticeable. It's led by Miguel Cabrera. Nick Castellanos has certainly embraced the idea. As pitchers began to steal more and more strike ones, hitters have begun to strike back in recent years and started swinging at strike one and doing some damage. There's a swing and a foul right at home plate.
You see Strasburg again missing with that second pitch. He's having a tough time getting it in on the right-handers. He wants to go in there and set it up for that outside pitch, but he left that second pitch way too much of the plate. Primarily staying away. Here's the cutter.
Boy, that's a heck of a pitch. Surprising when you see that pitch, Jack. We'll talk about it in a moment. You can celebrate Polish American Night. It's coming up Friday, May the 20th. Tigers against the Tampa Bay Rays at 7:10. Special ticket packages, which include a Detroit Tigers Polish American Night T-shirt, are available exclusively at tigers.com/Polish. Great annual tradition. 46 years. Polish American Night. First at Tiger Stadium, now Comerica Park. Heck of a changeup. He said that righties had the advantage on Strasburg, and you see pitches like that, Jack, that cutter at 89 away from McCann, you think.
Well, he's got 4+ pitches. He's got a curveball, he's got the cutter, he's got the changeup, and he's got a fastball. All of them are plus pitches, so that's what makes this guy so lights out when he's on.
There's no reason he shouldn't.
But he's made mistakes tonight, and good hitters will always jump on those mistakes. Tigers have put 2 good swings on him that have cost him.
You mentioned the strike throwing. There's a foul out of play. The leader is the remarkable Bartolo Colon in strike throwing. The best pitchers, the ones who throw the most strikes, I mean, it may sound simple, but truly at the end of every year, you look up and the guys who are near that 70% strike range, meaning that of all their pitches, almost 70% are strikes. Those are the guys who are your league leaders most years in ERA, collectively as a group. The Jordan Zimmermans, the David Prices, the Steven Strasburgs. Those are the guys usually with the lowest ERAs, and it is absolutely.
I think there's a correlation between guys that know how to pitch and are great. You know, you don't see the guys that are nibblers throw a lot of strikes because they don't have the stuff to get guys out.
Oh, there's a changeup. That's a nasty pitch breaking over the plate. 3 straight strikeouts for Strasburg, his 8th of the night.
Yeah, number 8 already, so they're piling up there.
What a pitch.
You don't really want to throw a changeup on the inner part of the plate, but he starts it off the plate and it comes back. It's kind of like the front door cutter that a lot of guys use. Well, he uses it in a changeup situation there, but it just comes back and catches the inside corner.
Iglesias has bounced to third, intentionally walked so that Strasburg could get Sanchez back in the 4th for the final out. Cutter away, makes it 2-0.
87th pitch from Steven Strasburg. No sign or indication that he's losing anything. Big, strong guy, 6'4", 225.
Almost every fastball has been 94 to 96. Sharp late breaking cutter, 88, 89. Need to get this bat going a little bit. Jose has shown that he can have a little more discipline at bat. He's been drawing a few more walks. He hit 300 last year. If he can get that average back up with the increased walk rate, hitting in that number 9 spot. Brad Ausmus talks about it all the time. Now you turn the lineup over. It's kind of like a second leadoff man. He's got good speed and he's on base, setting up Kinsler Martinez Cabrera. Ground ball here. It's heading into center, but Strasburg, terrific defensively, snags it and flips to first for the easy out. Tigers take a 3-run lead to the bottom of the 6th, 4-1 in D.C. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning. There is some comfort factor for Sanchez when he takes the mound against the Washington Nationals. You look at his career record, and that bottom line is what really stands out. You will rarely see that line drive to right, hit hard. JD on the run will make a fine grab in deep right center. Oh, Rendon smoked it, and JD hunted it down for the first out here in the 6th.
That's why you go after the hitter. Challenge him. You've got guys out there that want to be a hero and make a great play. JD gets a great jump. Ball was hit hard, and it could have got by him, but you've got 3 runs to work with. Go after that hitter and let your defense shine.
Let the bottom of your soles of your shoes shine too. You go into right center for JD. That brings up Bryce Harper. Soft tapper back to the mound, and a 3-pitch strikeout. His last time up. There's a fastball strike. Brad Ausmus said they will not be walking him virtually every trip to the plate. He faces the overshift. That's Castellanos under the outfield grass. He places the lone infielder on the left, and you can see him shaded way up the middle. Brad Ausmus says the game situation will definitely dictate. There's a breaking ball low and inside. Whether and how often they will walk Bryce Harper. For Joe Madden, it was nearly automatic. 19 trips to the plate in 4 games, and Bryce Harper was walked 13 times. I've never seen anything like that.
It's called respect is what it is, and you just roll the dice. In Joe Madden's case, he knew that this is the one guy that could ruin the day for the red hot Chicago Cubs. So he said, I'll play against 8 other guys and put him on base.
Waiting on the 2-1, high and away. This is a guy who does have terrific plate discipline. High walk rate last year, higher walk rate this year. It's probably not going to be dropping anytime soon. And he draws a walk with 1 out here in the 6th. Menards brings you the big money encounter. We take you back to yesterday. Incredible. And Bryce Harper finally just started laughing at the fact that he was not going to be pitched to. It was not all intentional walks.
Now, that was hit by a pitch there. That was the one, but the rest was pink bat, take off the pink
6
protector
walks
on the leg, and down to first.
13-inning game. He was being walked with men on. He was being walked with the bases empty. It did not matter. It was a close game, and Joe Maddon, as you said, was not going to let the one guy he felt with one swing of the bat could beat his team or deliver a key run. He was not going to let him do it. And we've seen that from Joe Maddon.
Well, it takes courage from a manager, because there's people that go to the ballpark to watch this guy play and they want him to swing. But we saw it with Barry Bonds when he was hitting all those home runs. How many times did Barry Bonds get walked? I know for a fact during my career, I wasn't going to let George Brett beat me in the second half of my career. It was much easier to put him on first and hope that he might hit into a double play than pitch to a guy that I know could beat me.
So you didn't mind pitching around a guy like that?
No, because that's smart. It's
versus, hey, I can get this guy out.
Well, when you're young, you want to get everybody out. You want to prove that you belong.
There's a ground ball softly to third. Big hop for Castellanos, to Kinsler, to Cabrera. Not in time. Zimmerman got down that line. Softly hit ground ball. 2 outs, man on.
Take a look here. Zimmerman's got to get out of the box quick, because he knows this could be a double play. Kinsler does a great job of turning that, but Ryan Zimmerman does get down the line quick enough to avoid the double play.
Good hard slide from Harper, but you could see he did not get into the full barrel roll there, which you can't do anyway, but right on top of Kinsler. Good changeup. Daniel Murphy, there are more than a few here in D.C. you think this guy should be batting behind Bryce Harper, but so far Dusty Baker is very reluctant to put 2 lefties producing like Harper and Murphy back to back. But right now, as more teams are not too worried about walking Harper with Zimmerman coming up, because Zimmerman's had such a quiet start, you would think Dusty Baker's probably thinking about that a lot and whether he might make that change.
The reason he's got Zimmerman there is because he knows that one swing of the bat and he could be up by 2 or 3. He's the home run guy. He's the power guy that typically are the number 4 hitters.
And he's also going to take the track record of Zimmerman that at some point,
it'll come.
Ryan Zimmerman is going to start hitting. Track record suggests it's a pretty consistent source of right-handed power for the Nationals. Truly, there are 4 guys in this lineup who should at some point, based on their career track records, start hitting a lot more than they've shown so far. Off speed and in the dirt, and Murphy 1 for 2 tonight. That batting average for Daniel Murphy at .397. 4 home runs, 17 RBIs coming in. We looked to single in to make it 18 RBIs. That's the Nationals' 1 run that came in the 4th inning with 2 outs. He has not hit the ball hard tonight in his first 2 trips to the plate, and he has been a lot this year. Iglesias shades way up the middle. Line drive here, but foul, well into the seats down the right field line. So the combined numbers for these two, remember Bryce Harper hit .330 last year. He's down to .265 this year. So those combined numbers could be even better, but look what the rest of the team has done.
It's like, hey guys, you want to just play with us and have a little fun? You know, if you carry your own weight, we could really be good.
This team is 19-12 with just really 2 major bats. Fly ball to right is trouble. And gone. Daniel Murphy with a 2-run shot, and the Nationals within 1 here in the 6th.
Similar to JD, and of course the red hot Nick Castellanos. Guys that are hot seem to be very quiet in the batter's box. They wait, and their hands do all the talking. That was another beautiful swing. Daniel Murphy just basically loads, and look at the contact point right out in front of the home plate. Did not have what you would call a home run swing, but he had a very nice swing. The ball jumps off his bat because of that easy swing, and he remains red hot.
Three-year deal for $37 million for Daniel Murphy is looking like might be a bargain for the Nationals the way he has started. And improved defensively as well. There's a good sharp breaking ball away from Ramos, who has singled and walked in this game.
It's kind of funny how baseball works. The Mets just figured that his postseason numbers were an anomaly, that it wasn't going to happen again, and yet he jumped ship as a free agent.
Ground ball here will be fielded by Iglesias. Good play. Tipped off the glove. It looked like of Sanchez, and Ramos an easy out at first base by Iglesias. But another 2-run home run, the first for the Nationals tonight, and the Tigers' lead is cut to 1 after 6. Well, Sanchez will lead off here in the 7th inning. Interesting. There's a fastball strike, but he's earned this, hasn't he, Jay?
Well, I think Brad just wants him to maybe eat up another inning or two.
Yeah.
If possible. He's, one pitch. And really one hitter. David Murphy's been the guy. Got all 3 RBIs for the Nationals. Other than that, Hannibal has really pitched a very good game.
Faced 24 batters, and there have been, I would say, 4 hard hit balls as Sanchez strikes out. Let's go back to our Call Sam studios and our game break with Mickey York. Kansas City started the year 12-6, and Jack, the Royals are, if they don't come back, about to fall below the 500 mark. Good pitch to Ian Kinsler for a strike.
White Sox, the Lone Ranger in this division, playing solid ball. Everybody else has kind of had a little bit of a struggle early.
Check swing foul. Still wonder about that White Sox offense, but at some point you realize a hot start is a hot start. And you saw them play over the weekend, Jack. The pitching obviously is tremendous, but you were impressed by their defense.
I truly was, especially their outfield defense.
Kinsler with a single and a walk has rode home twice on a 2-run home run. Castellanos in the first, J.D. Martinez in the fifth. Another terrific year for the Tigers all-star second baseman. Whoa. Boy, nothing wrong with that. Strikeout number 10 for Strasburg.
Hey, let's take a look at the Jimmy John's freaky fast delivery of the game, and it was J.D. Martinez's home run that got out of this ballpark in a freaky fast way. A line drive into the bullpen, and that's the difference in this game right now. Tigers up 4-3.
Strasburg just blew a 97-mile-an-hour fastball by Ian Kinsler. 96 on the first pitch to J.D., but misses.
Tiger fans are kind of used to a guy that has that extra gear late in the game. Sounds like Justin Verlander had it going yesterday a little bit, and it's good to see him doing that in his heyday. He was able to start the game in 92, 93, 95, 97, and then 99. You know, got it up to 100. But 100 pitches now for Strasburg.
Cutter low and away. This is the same count J.D. hit the home run on in the fifth.
You mentioned, Dan, that when Strasburg came out this inning here, 100 pitches, no activity down there in the Nationals bullpen. Their bullpen got chewed up a little bit in that series in Chicago.
Sure did. It's a heck of a cutter to J.D. to make it 3-2. That heavily used. Starters made some short starts, and then the last thing that Dusty Baker and his bullpen needed yesterday was a 13-inning game.
Extra inning game.
So if Strasburg could get them through 7, he might come out for the 8th. Swing and a miss. Wow.
With that stuff, he might as well.
He just blew the Tigers away. Strikes out the side here in the 7th inning. He has struck out 6 of the last 7 batters. Coming up the 7th inning stretch, brought to you by Jeff Glover and Associates Realtors. The Tigers holding on to a 1-run lead as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Michael Taylor leading off, bottom of the 7th. First pitch breaking ball A good looking pitch, ball one. Bottom third of the order. Taylor, Espinosa, Strasburg. Taylor hit the ball hard his first time up, lined out to left. Espinosa has hit a ball hard tonight. He lined out to second his last time up. Check swing. Did he go? Appeal to first. Todd Titchener says he did not. 2 walks in the 4th, 1 in the 5th. Kyle Ryan, Alex Wilson getting loose in the Tigers bullpen. Ground ball foul.
Pitch count in good shape. Anibal Sanchez for the second time pitching into the 7th inning. And that's a sign in the right direction for this starting staff for the Tigers.
Absolutely. Jack, it just seems there've just been 2 very short stretches where Tiger starters have consistently gone 6 or more this year. This is drive hit deep to left. Upton turned one way, then the other. He'll have to play it on a hop, and he will hold Taylor to a long single. Got turned around a little bit, but that ball was smoked.
I'm not sure he was going to be able to really have the track to that ball anyway. Hits off the wall out there in left center field, but doing a great job. Justin Upton did of playing the wall, but the ricochet off the wall, and then a strong throw into Kinsler at second base. That's going to have to hold Michael Taylor to a single. But another leadoff base runner. Bottom of the 7th here for Washington.
He did play that ball perfectly, 1 hop. But now Espinosa, who had the good swing his last time up. A little flip over to first. But Jack, you've seen the effects when the rotation can get on a roll, and certainly there's that capability for this Tigers rotation. We haven't seen it much this year. The change in the feel on the team when the rotation's going good.
I've always said that there is something positive about follow the leader.
Boy, long foul fly. You talk about a long foul fly into the upper deck, foul down the right field line.
Here's our high-speed pitch brought to you by Xfinity. We're going to take a look at the range for Anibal tonight. His high fastball 93, is low. The off-speed pitch, maybe the breaking ball at 74. That's pretty good. Almost 20 miles an hour difference. But more importantly, he's getting a feel out there. He's getting more and more confidence. He's throwing more strikes. Does have a couple walks in this game, and one of them came back to haunt him. That was a leadoff walk to Rendon in the 4th inning.
Rendon stole a base earlier in the game. Taylor's drawing a lot of attention because he has 4 steals in 5 attempts. He just hasn't been able to get on base to use his speed, but he is definitely a base stealing threat. He represents a potential tying run, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see him take off. There he goes. Swing and a foul off of James McCann. Taylor has to head back to first. As we mentioned, the strikeouts for Sanchez up this year. Tonight, so far, just a couple of strikeouts for Anibal Sanchez.
This is where managers really start taking over a game. This is a close game. We're getting deep into it. Dusty Baker knows the importance of that base runner, and Michael Taylor, he's trying everything he can to get him into scoring position. And the Tigers just have to do everything they can to counter that.
Not going this time, swinging a soft little temper. Strasburg has the bat. He's in the on-deck circle. You look at Sanchez. I think you're right, Jack. If he can put together another 7-inning start, I'm not sure he's going to get a chance to get through this 7th inning, depending on what happens with this batter right here. But back-to-back 7-inning starts for Sanchez.
Good sign.
Very good sign.
And if he could roll a little double play ball right here, you never know. He's got the pitcher in the on-deck circle.
Espinosa's had a very very tough year for Espinosa. Another toss to first. Taylor's got a good sized lead. A couple of these throws over. It's been close. He's been back each time just ahead of the tag of Cabrera. Tigers leading by 1. We're in the 7th. The leadoff man on with a single. Taylor leaning. There he goes again. Swinging a ground ball. Base hit into right. That gets Taylor over to third. On an 0-2 pitch. Danny Espinosa, seeing eye single, and trouble for Sanchez and the Tigers here in the 7th. Now you can follow Tigers baseball live with the MLB.com @bat app. Stay up to the moment with any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. Download the MLB.com @bat, #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet.
Tough decision right here for Brad Ausmus. He would love to have left Anibal in this game and let him get out of this mess, but now with runners on the corners and nobody out, and he still may leave him in. This conversation isn't over yet.
He's looking out to the bullpen.
A vote of confidence, I think. I don't think he's going there. I think they're talking about this situation. He's going to let him try to get out of it.
You would see Jim Leland do that from time to time. Almost every time a manager, major league manager, comes to the mound in this situation, the pitcher's coming out, but sometimes you pick your spots to stay with the guy.
This might be a bunting situation normally with a runner on first, but you've got Taylor at third, so they want him to drive this run in. And what a time to strike out the pitcher, huh?
If it wasn't this point in the game, well, he will bunt. It's down the first base line, and Sanchez played it. No, man, he tried to grab it and tag Strasburg, and instead he touched it in fair territory and couldn't handle it. Everybody's safe, bases loaded, nobody out. No, frustrated Anibal Sanchez.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing to have happen right there, because you realize that just the fraction of a second can change the dynamics of the game.
Tigers going to their bullpen. It's a wall side windows pitching change. The lefty Kyle Ryan is coming on. Bases loaded, nobody out in the 7th. Tigers hold on to a 1-run lead. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Bell Tire. Get the lowest tire price, period. Bell Tire. And by Chevrolet, more than you expect for less than you imagine. Jefferson Memorial. On a cool night in Washington, D.C. in big trouble for Kyle Ryan. Ben Revere at the plate, contact hitter. Kyle Ryan has had a tough time getting lefties out. Pitch off the plate inside to Ben Revere. Justin Wilson out of the mix because working 3 days in a row.
See the numbers there this season for Kyle Ryan in his 13th game. And he's kind of asked to get out of a little bit of a predicament.
Boy, there's a good breaking ball away. Jack, he should be able to get lefties out with pitches like that, but so far at the major league level, he has not.
Well, he's got that crossfire, big sweeping slider. The key is to get the guys to chase. Ben Revere went out of the zone to get strike one there.
Revere, a 300 hitter in his career against lefties. Only the second time he's faced one this year, just coming off the DL. Fly ball to right center field. That's trouble. JD will make a nice running catch. That scores the run to tie the game. And Espinosa advances from second to third. Boy, Ben Revere put a charge into it. And we're tied at 4 here in the 7th.
Can't ask for a lot more from Ben Revere right there. He's able to lift the ball and have JD go backwards. No chance that he was going to be able to do anything about that runner at third, so it's all tied up, and now it'll be up to Alex Wilson, I think.
You've got Rendon, a right-hander, coming up. Bryce Harper, the lefty, after him. It's another wall side windows pitching change. Tigers going to their righty. Alex Wilson, still runners at the corners and 1 out. Well, be sure to join Fox Sports Detroit and the Detroit Tigers on May the 24th. It's a very special evening as we honor the armed forces and military veterans. When you buy a special ticket package, you'll get a ticket to the game and a limited edition patriotic t-shirt, where $5 of each package is donated to the Michigan-based Fallen and Wounded Soldiers Fund. For ticket packages, please visit tigers.com/armed forces. Alex Wilson, fastball strike to Rendon. Runners at the corners. Alex Wilson has been terrific since coming off the disabled list. The most reliable reliever, along with Blaine Hardy last year. The cutter on the outside corner and quickly ahead 0-2. Alex Wilson is a strike thrower.
Yes, he is, and this is such an important pitch because you don't want to give in. You have the ability to waste a couple pitches. You'd like to see him get Rendon to swing out of the zone and keep that runner at third base. Yes.
Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Rendon doesn't think so. Home plate umpire Brian Knight rings him up. Huge strikeout for the second out here in the 7th.
This is going to bring up an interesting situation. I got to believe that Brad Ausmus is going to have to walk Bryce Harper here. Joe Maddon's probably calling the dugout, telling him what to do.
It's not something many managers do with first base occupied, but Brad Ausmus said the game will very much dictate if and when they walk
And
Harper.
this is a situation where that does dictate it. You don't want your best guy in the lineup, the best guy in their lineup, to beat you.
5th time that Harper has been walked intensely the last 5 games, but truly, Jack, until some of the other guys in this lineup other than Daniel Murphy start hitting, those intentional walk totals are going to skyrocket for Bryce Harper.
Yeah, you've got the right-hander Ryan Zimmerman. He's going to have to start carrying his weight behind him. And with the right-hander Alex Wilson on the mound, Brad's going to take his chances with bases loaded. You also mentioned that Alex Wilson is a strike thrower, so you don't worry about an unintentional walk.
Right.
He's got to go after him here and get a big out, and this game will remain tied.
Ryan Zimmerman, as we mentioned, is a consistent power threat. Injury-shortened seasons each of the last 2 years. When he's been healthy, the power is still there. He's off to a very quiet start. Batting average low, and the power numbers for him extremely low. He remains a threat. 0 for 3 tonight, 3 ground balls. Wilson grabs the outside corner, gets the call.
A great miss right there. He tried to go in and went down and away. There it is, career with bases loaded. That's pretty impressive numbers. And this guy's always got the potential for that one big swing. So tough situation for Alex Wilson, but he's ahead in the count. That helps him.
Espinosa at 3rd, Strasburg at 2nd. Bryce Harper at 1st. Pop up softly. Cabrera calls off Wilson, says I've got it, as he runs through that first base coach's box, and Alex Wilson does the job. Strands 3. The Nationals tie it up with a run in the 7th. You're watching Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit, presented by Bell Tire. 4-4 after 7. Let's take a look at our Bell Tire pitch by pitch. And Steven Strasburg has been impressive tonight. The stuff extremely consistent. As Jack has mentioned, 4 pitches all plus pitches. The fastball electric, much like we've seen with Justin Verlander through the years. He can dial it up in the later innings. We saw 97 to strike out Kinsler last inning. It is the 13th 11 strikeout game of Steven Strasburg's career.
He has struck out 6 of the last 7 Tiger hitters, and that's an indication that don't worry about that pitch count. We talked about Dusty Baker's bullpen is very tired after a long series in Chicago, 4-game series with an extra inning game yesterday. So he's going to ask his big boy to go out there and maybe throw a few extra pitches today.
114 is his high pitch count for the year. 103, as you see on your screen. Curveball hangs high to Miguel. They really protected this arm and really have since he's come back from Tommy John. You look at his starts last year, he rarely went above 105. There's a pitch up and in on Miguel. Lefty and a righty. Trinan Rivero is the lefty in the Nationals bullpen. And you would think, Jack, Dusty Baker's not going to let him go a whole lot over 110 today. You wouldn't think.
No, he's probably letting him pitch to maybe Miguel and Nick.
Boy.
Leadoff walk will definitely probably put the nail in his coffin for his last hitter.
Walked Kinsler on 4 pitches to start the game. The only other walk was an intentional walk to Iglesias. He's 3-0 on Cabrera. 4-4 tie in the 8th. And he walks Miguel Cabrera on 4 pitches, not one of which was even close.
Let's take a look at Big Boy's big play of the game. And it was back in the 1st inning. See Nick Castellano greeting a Steven Strasburg fastball, the first one that he tried to get in on the inner half of the plate to start the game after 3 hitters that he kept away, but Nick was there to greet it, and that's going to be the end of the day. Dusty Baker coming out to get Strasburg. He gets a nice hand. Potential go-ahead run on first base, but his team came back to score 4-4.
11 strikeouts for Strasburg. Wallside windows pitching change coming up in a 4-4 game. Blake Trinan is the new pitcher for the Washington Nationals, one of the primary setup men for manager Dusty Baker. 3rd year with the Nationals. They used him a lot last year. Starter turned reliever, power arm.
Same body type as the guy he's replacing. 6'5", a little bit taller, about the same weight as Strasburg, but a tough guy to follow when you have similar stuff.
There's a swing of a soft little flare into right. It's going to drop for a base hit. Miguel had to hold up. Harper's throw to second. Oh, it's on line. He gets him. And Miguel, yikes. Hopping around after his slide into second base. And Kevin Rand, the head trainer, Brad Ausmus, pop out of that dugout. You can only hope it was maybe an awkward turning of the ankle, and that's just something minor, but you just worry with Miguel. Given some of the injuries he has had in recent years, you always think of the slide into second against Oakland in 2013 that caused his very quiet September with a groin pull.
Take a look at it. He's got to hold up here for Harper, but Harper throws it hard. Oh, I just think he just slid hard into that bag. A late slide for Miguel, and it appears to be his right ankle. He's walking it off.
It's funny, he went in hard with the left.
And now he's holding his hamstring area.
Well, I don't like that grimace. He's assured Kevin and Brad that he's okay. Again, he went in hard with the left, but it's the right that he was favoring. There's a
See
good
how
look
he
at it
tucks
right
his
here.
right leg there, and then how hard. It's hard to say.
Yeah.
We'll just have to wait and see what the Tigers report to us.
Another hit for Castellanos.
Yeah, either case, the Tigers have something going here. 2 on, nobody out.
Miguel did as good a job as possible the way he played that. Halfway, not easy. And again, an accurate throw gets him at second. Pitch in the dirt, and he gets away from Ramos. Miguel's heading to third, and the throw. Got him. Miguel's going to hang by third and just see if the Tigers want to challenge. This is not always the best indicator of whether a runner was safe or not. That the runner thinks he's safe. We've seen this more than a few times where the runner was clearly out. And
well, I think it's a good, you know, if it's close, you're going to lose it anyway. And Brad wants to take another look at it, so the umpires will come on in and converse with their buddies in New York.
wow. You can see the Rendon was grabbing the ball. It was not in his glove.
Yes, it wasn't.
So the glove tags the leg. I think the foot's in before he actually tags him with the ball in the right hand.
What I've learned watching these reviews is that
whatever you think is right is wrong.
No, the convincing word is it's got to be conclusive proof to overturn it.
Right. So if he'd been called safe, you'd say no convincing proof to overturn it. He was called out. Again, the glove tags, the foot's in.
Time goes to the runner, but I don't think this is going to be overturned.
I don't think so either. And I say that because I'm almost always wrong, so I'm hoping that it actually goes the other way.
And I've seen so many times where my eyeballs have seen it's clear and convincing to me, but not to the guys.
Tags him with the glove. I think the foot's in before the ball. Now watch what happens when the foot hits the bag and pops up, and he's still got the baseball on his calf.
It's going to be ruled out.
Yeah, and the umpires say he indeed was out. Very, very close. Castellanos ends up at second. This is one of the dangers for manager Dusty Baker bringing in Blake Trinan. His command is not the best. High walk rate last year, even higher this year. See if Upton can pick up his teammates. Oh, that's a good breaking ball for a called strike. So Miguel out to put out 2-5 for the first out. Castellanos in scoring position in a 4-4 game here in the 8th. Trinan checks Castellanos. Mid-90s fastball low, and the good hitters count for Upton. Upton has had a most unusual last 3 games. 4 walks, 5 strikeouts in his 9 trips to the plate over the weekend. 2 more strikeouts today. 4 walks, 7 strikeouts in his last 12 plate appearances. He had 1 soft fly ball to center today. It's a heck of a pitch.
Well, he's tracking a couple really good breaking balls. The real question, and what I've seen from Justin, is he will swing out of the zone. He looks for a certain pitch, a ball in, a ball up, and he'll just swing in that general area, and sometimes he misses by a considerable amount.
Fastballs away, but especially up, have been vexing for Justin Upton.
Felipe Rivero still throwing out there, a left-hander in Dusty Baker's bullpen.
4-4 tie, and the Tigers trying to do something about it here in the 8th. Strike 3 called. Man.
Of course, when things are going bad, a guy just paints the corner on you. That was a pitcher's pitch right there.
That's a perfect pitch.
Yeah, that's
absolutely perfect. And you're right, it does seem like that's how it's going for Justin. I mean, truly, the number of at-bats we've seen this year, that was obviously in the strike zone. Many others have been off the plate. Tigers are going to pinch hit for McCann. You would think there's one batter that's going to pop out of that dugout.
That'll be Victor.
The batting cage is right there below the dugout steps. James McCann will be lifted for the pinch hitter. Victor's been getting ready, and he indeed right there at the bottom step. McCann was 0 for 3 tonight with a couple of punch outs.
Normally, I think Brad would prefer that Victor would be used in the hitter's spot, but the game dictates that, and this is a situation where you've got your go-ahead run at second base with 2 outs. You want your best hitter to come up and try to put your team in front, so he can't afford to wait until the 9th spot comes up in the lineup.
Blake Trinan has had a very tough time getting lefties out in his brief time in the major leagues, covering 131 innings. It's a large gap. Lefties hit him for average and hit him for power. 330. 2 home runs this year, but 330 in his career. You see Victor as a pinch hitter. First 2 games this season in a National League ballpark. 2 pinch hits, 2 home runs.
They're going to walk him.
Yep. And Brad knows this. I mean, when he calls upon Victor, he absolutely knows with first base open this could happen. But again, he's extending the inning to give his team the best chance with Anthony Gose, another lefty, given the numbers for lefties against Trinan.
Yeah, this is where Dusty Baker and his National League style of play can really one-up him. He's got the left-hander Felipe Rivero. He's been throwing for quite some time. There is a right-hander throwing now, but with Gose coming up, it's that cat and mouse game. If Gose comes up and gets in the batter's box, then Dusty can go to the mound, and vice versa. If they bring in the lefty, Mike Avila's and Andrew Romine.
Yep.
And of course, Saltalamacchia is a switch hitter, so there's still a couple options that Brad has.
So you would think Dusty Baker will wait for Saltalamacchia to be introduced as the pinch hitter, and then go to the lefty and make Saltalamacchia turn around and bat right-handed, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Saltalamacchia in the game as the wheels turn here in the 8th inning. And Washington Nationals go to their bullpen. 2 outs, 8th inning, 4-4 game. Tigers will have Saltalamacchia at the plate when we come back. Bank game summary. Nick Castellanos, J.D. Martinez, each with the 2-run home run in this game. In the first for Castellanos, the 5th for J.D. Daniel Murphy with the 2-run home run at the time made it 4-3. Steven Strasburg was brilliant. Did give up the 2 home runs, but 11 strikeouts. 13th time in his career he struck out as many as 11. Felipe Rivero takes over on the mound, turning Saltalamacchia over to bat from the right side. First pitch fastball, another reliever. Throws in the mid-90s, this time from the left side. That one just missed a pretty good looking pitch. .48 innings of the Nationals last year. Rivera did a very nice job. Low walks, good strikeout rate. Fastball away. 2 walks per 9 last year. He's at 3 this year. Strikeout an inning guy in 64 innings of work in the major leagues. Saltalamacchia just 2 for 16 as a right-handed batter this year. One of those hits was a home run in KC. Got a good hitters count here, 2-0. Little pop up softly and just out of play. The ricochet caught by the first baseman Zimmerman. It's 2-1. Saltalamacchia still has life. 4-4 tie. 2 on, 2 outs in the 8th.
Sean Kelly, the right-hander, if this inning could continue, there will probably be another pitching change.
This is a lefty who shuts down lefties, righties equally well. The power numbers much stronger for Saltalamacchia from the left side. The batting average higher as well. Oh, it's a 95-mile-an-hour heater right by him to even the count at 2-2. This is a heck of an arm to bring out of the bullpen.
To see a swing that tardy, you wonder if you're doing him any favors at all by throwing anything but a fastball. Steven Strasburg very intrigued with how this inning all unfolds.
Way outside. Again, this is a guy with pretty good command. There's a pretty good chance this 3-2 pitch will be close enough to induce Saltalamacchia to swing. 3 home runs as a right-handed batter last year in limited at-bats. Again, 2 for 16 so far this year. Castellanos a runner at second. Romine is the pinch runner. He's at first. Iglesias waiting on deck. Rivero, the lefty, sets the 3-2. Swing and a miss. He got him with a wicked slider down the lane. Saltalamacchia strikes out. Lots of maneuvering by both managers. In the end, the Nationals relievers get the job done. Tigers strand 2 in the 8th inning. We head to the bottom of the 8th in a tie game 4-4. Tigers had the early lead in this game. 2 more in the 5th inning on a J.D. Martinez home run gave them a 3-run lead. The Nationals have tied it 2 in the 6th and 1 in the 7th. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Andrew Romine takes over in center. Saltalamacchia now behind the plate. First at 3 between the Tigers and Nationals. It's been a good night of baseball here at Nationals Park. Soft fly ball into left on the first pitch. Off the bat of Murphy. Good to get that guy out. 1 pitch, 1 out. Murphy's an RBI single and a 2-run home run as he continues his incredible start for the Nationals. Alex Wilson has become so dependable. The outs that he gets, the consistency with which he gets those outs.
He's an aggressive type pitcher with a lot of confidence. He's going after hitters. And consistency, another word that really describes what Alex Wilson's done.
Never been a big strikeout pitcher. 5 strikeouts per 9 last year. Early good sign. 8 strikeouts in 8 2/3 coming into the game tonight. Struck out the first batter he faced, Rendon, last innings.
Ouch.
Broken bat, ground ball to short. Ouch is right. Iglesias takes care of Ramos. 2 pitches, 2 outs here in the 8th.
Talked about the sound coming off the bat of J.D. Martinez, and it's always a pitcher's nightmare. Well, this is the sound that every pitcher dreams about. Just sawing off Wilson Ramos there.
2 pitches, 2 outs. Alex Wilson has faced 5 batters, and other than the intentional walk, has retired 4 on 7 pitches. Strike to Michael Taylor. He's had 2 good swings tonight. A line out and a line single, the longest single you will see, off the wall and left, about 360 feet from home plate. Perfectly played by Upton. Boy, that's a good pitch. Sharp cutter away.
Take another look at that pitch. Just cuts right through it. It's got a late break, about 2 inches off the plate. Starts on the plate.
With a bigger breakdown and away. Taylor 1 for 3. Came into the game hitting 183. Espinosa in the on-deck circle. Wilson trying to make it a quick 1-2-3 8th in a 4-4 game. Low 90s fastball that he has great command of. Walk rate of 1.5 last year, but if he can bump those strikeouts up, that's a big significant improvement if he can hold this current strikeout rate. Off speed and down in the strike zone.
It's always the toughest pitch for a lot of pitchers. They can get strike 1, strike 2, but getting that swing and miss pitch, very difficult for a lot of guys.
This is an aggressive hitter, and a pitcher doesn't walk many. Pop up here will end it.
He just came after him. Fastball up.
Castellanos makes the catch to the left of the mound, and it's a beautiful inning for Alex Wilson. 4-4 after 8 in D.C. All right, Mickey, thank you. 8-9-1 hitters. Iglesias, pinch hitter Aviles in the on-deck circle, and Ian Kinsler here in the 9th inning against the hard-throwing, impressive youngster for the Nationals. Foul out of play. Felipe Rivero came on to get the last out last inning, striking out the pinch hitter Soltolamaquia. 1 ball, 1 strike on Iglesias. Well, he missed badly with the fastball, but again, this is a guy who can bounce back.
It's all about his front shoulder. He does fly open once in a while, and that leaves the ball on his throwing hand side off the plate.
And he can bounce back with a pitch like that.
Sometimes I think that's what's great about a catcher who can recognize that. Sometimes you go back to the breaking ball when he's struggling with the fastball because it forces him to keep his shoulder in, and the timing gets improved.
Rivero hoping, really hoping that Ramos is going to take charge on that pop-up.
Yeah, don't let a pitcher catch it. My goodness. They shag all day long in the outfield, but we are not allowed to catch one during the game.
Did you ever call infielders off and just say, look, I really can't
just the little loopers.
This.
Yeah, just the ones that there's no way they're going to get to. I got yelled at for doing it. Get out of the way, Jack.
No, I really can catch this. Mike Aviles at the plate, and the first pitch is a strike. Pinch hitting. This is the pitcher's spot in the batting order, number 9 spot, swinging a foul over the screen. No tougher job in baseball than being a pinch hitter. You look year in and year out, no matter how good the hitter is, it's the rare guy who can produce in this role. Swing and a miss, off speed and away. Aviles strikes out on 3 pitches. Tigers fans, if you can't catch games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports Detroit and Tigers baseball with you wherever you go. Well, that'll be the end of the night, and that's an impressive 3 batters for Felipe Rivero. He gets a nice hand, and he should.
Yeah, he came in a tough situation, got the big strikeout of Jared Soltolamaquia. Then he starts this inning with a little weak fly ball that was caught by Ramos, and another strikeout. So good outing for Felipe Rivero.
Is coming out of the bullpen, hard throwing righty. Here's our matchup tomorrow. Joe Ross against Michael Fulmer. There's been a lot to like about Michael Fulmer's 2 first starts. Even with the little bump in the first inning last time, he really gave the Tigers 4 good innings after that. Joe Ross is an impressive young right-hander for the Nationals. You can see the ERA for Joe Ross, complementing the big 3, Scherzer, Strasburg, Gonzalez.
A couple young guys sandwiched in between some veteran starters.
Upcoming pitching matchup presented by Gordon Chevrolet. Shane Green has started to throw again. He had the little recurrence, the blister split open the other day, and he did throw today, but again, you're kind of restarting the clock with that blister, trying to heal it for Shane Green. I'm still very optimistic about Green and his ability to contribute to this Tigers rotation. Take a look at Sean Kelly. We have seen him before. This is a pretty impressive setup crew ahead of Jonathan Papelbon, who probably has struggled the most of these late inning
might
relievers.
have the worst stuff in the pen. A veteran.
But you bring Kelly out. We've seen him in a Seattle uniform with the Yankees, San Diego last year, and it looks like a very strong pickup for the Nationals this year.
Well, Kinsler's going to try to get it going with 2 outs. The Tigers have been good at producing runs with 2 outs.
2-run home run in the first inning came with 2 outs. Here's a little pop fly on the right field line. Zimmerman has it in range, and he will make the catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. Tigers are out in the top of the 9th. 1-2-3 inning for Nationals pitchers. A 4-4 game heading to the bottom of the 9th in D.C. Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is brought to you by Comerica Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. By your Metro Detroit Chevy dealers, visit ChevyDetroit.com and see why Chevy drives the Motor City. And by Wallside Windows, we can do that. We are the factory. 4-4 as we head to the bottom of the ninth inning in our nation's capital. Beautiful look there at the White House, the Washington Monument off in the distance. Mark Lowe. He had a tough outing. Well, you weren't a reliever, Jack, but I'm guessing Mark Lowe wanted nothing more than to get back on the mound after a very rough outing yesterday in Detroit.
No, I don't think it matters if you're a reliever or a starter and you have a tough one. You want to get right back out there and just eliminate that memory. See his numbers for the year, the ERA kind of reflective of that, but pitching in his 13th game, and now he's gonna, and those are the numbers from yesterday.
Correct his ERA, which actually was below 3 going into the weekend.
It's hard enough for a starter who gets to eat up a lot of innings, but those relievers, when they have to do it an inning or two at a time, that'll take a couple of months to get back into respectability.
Exactly. It was the Elvis Andrus at bat yesterday, hit Elvis Andrus with 2 outs and 2 on, and that led to, incredibly, Bobby Wilson, the Detroit Tiger a week ago, hitting the grand slam. At the time, it was a 2-2 game. Now he's being asked to keep this game tied and send it into extra innings. The Nationals played 13 innings in Chicago yesterday. There's a good slider on the outside corner. Lefties hit low better than righties. Espinosa better as a right-handed batter, batting lefty here.
Mark Lowe is definitely one of those drop and drive type of pitchers. He doesn't use his height to his advantage, but he uses his leg strength by dropping down low and then pushing off that rubber.
Fastball outside, we've seen that's basically been his fastball, 92, 93 tops most days so far. This is a guy last year was terrific. 2 walks, 10 strikeouts per 9 with a mid-90s fastball. His average fastball was over 95 last year. And we really have not seen that yet in 2016. And that's important for Mark Lowe. There's a strike on the inside corner. Castellanos even with the base and off the line. Espinosa today 1 for 3. His ground ball in the 7th inning just found the right spot. You've just been talking about the need for a ground ball for a double play, and Sanchez actually induced a weak ground ball. But Espinosa just squeezed it in between Cabrera and Kinsler, touching off what turned out to be the tying rally in the 7th inning. Espinosa turns out of the way of a high tight fastball. 2-2. Robinson is waiting on deck. He will pinch hit for the pitcher's spot. 4-4 tie in the bottom of the 9th inning. 2-2 slider in. 3-2 on Espinosa. He's had a very tough year. Bit of a bounce back season last year for Danny Espinosa. 240 with some power. 200 this year with very little in the way of power. Pretty aggressive hitter. There's a strike call. Whoa, the slider above the belt gets the call. And Espinosa isn't happy. I'm not sure you can blame him, and he's just been tossed.
Nationals dugout not real happy with this. Dusty Baker's going to come out, protect his player, and get his 2 cents worth in. We'll see if Dusty can control what he says. A lot of times they'll get tossed on purpose to let the player know that they have their back. I'm not sure that one was that close. It looked like he was up and out of the zone. Dusty has a legitimate beef, but that's part of baseball.
We're wondering if Harper's the one who got ejected.
Might have been.
Might have been. We saw Espinosa turn and have some words with Brian Knight, the home plate umpire. The heave-ho came as he walked toward the dugout.
Yeah, Harper was chirping at him and one at bat earlier, and he probably remembers his voice.
Wow.
That's a tough one. I understand.
I think that's a
why,
real tough one. I really do.
Dusty's upset for a reason. You just throw your best player out of the game. Ball's right up on top of the strike zone. Foxtrack says it's a strike, but Bryce Harper, the one in the dugout, chirping at home plate umpire Brian Knight, and Knight's had enough of his talk, throws him out of the game. I hate to see this, quite honestly. I think umpires just have to
from the dugout
turn their shoulder and just accept that, you know, players are emotional. They get caught up in the game. They want to win. And you've got to just not have the rabbit ears.
We've seen Bryce Harper lay his helmet and bat down at home plate after a called third strike and get ejected by the third base umpire in his career. I agree with you. I don't think, unless it's just absolutely egregious from the dugout. One thing, if a batter gets tossed for complaining, fly ball, right field, JD going back at the wall, jumps up, and it is gone, a home run! Clint Robinson, pinch hitting, delivers the walk-off in the bottom of the ninth.
Brad Ausmus has absolutely nothing to lose, and he doesn't get another challenge because they lost the challenge before with McGee sliding into third, but he asked the umpire to review it, and they're automatically going to review all home runs that are questionable. They might see that a fan could have reached over and touched that right there. Everybody's been asked to come off the field. We'll just have to wait and see if it's a legit celebration or not.
Didn't take long. You can hear the crowd reaction. Second pinch hit home run of Clint Robinson's career. And the Nationals walk off a winner, and the Tigers' losing streak has reached 7. Tigers had the lead in this game and could not hang on, and Jack, Nationals had some big hits late, but you go back to the 7th inning, back-to-back hits, and then the error by Sanchez leading to the sacrifice fly that tied the game off the bat of Revere. Here's our 1-800-CALL-SAM call of the game.
Well, you made the call. It was back in the 5th inning. I'm sorry, this is the last call of the game. Clint Robinson, man, what a big hit.
180 and 49 career at-bats as a pinch hitter. As we said, there's really no tougher job, and he delivers in a big way to deliver the win for the Nationals here in Game 1. So first of 3, Nationals come away with the win. The Tigers couldn't hold on to the 4-1 lead that they took to the bottom of the 6th. Our final score from Nationals Park: the Washington Nationals on the Clint Robinson walk-off home run in the bottom of the 9th, pinch hitting with 1 out. Washington Nationals 5 and the Detroit Tigers 4. Now we'll send it to the Call Sam Studios. Standing by for Tigers Live postgame in Mickey York.